Yo, what's up? Welcome inside the opening line. Corey and Benny, Elite Fantasy Sports Network. Benny rocking the Bad News Bears joint. What up with you, big homie?
Yeah, man, got my Kelly Leak jersey on today. Got this thing delivered the other day. This is what happens, Corey, when you have a good night and you're up at 2 in the morning and you're drunk looking through stuff online and some ad pops up and you're like, yo, I always needed a Bad News Bears jersey. Came in the mail the other day. I was like, yo, I didn't remember ordering this, but what the hell? Rocking the Kelly Leak jersey today. Chico Tailbon, baby.
One of the great all-time sports movies, The Bad News Bears. You know what I'm saying? I have to have the kids watch that, Benny. I need to make the kids watch it.
Yeah, I'm debating. My oldest is 10 right now, and he's into baseball. Like, he plays baseball. He loves baseball. I'm debating what age you can let your kid watch that movie, because there are a couple raunchy scenes in that movie.
Oh, you know what? You're right. That's right. I forgot.
Not like super bad, but like, he's 10. You know what I mean? Like, it's
speaking of super bad. Shout out to McLovin, who turned 38 years old yesterday.
No way, really?
And you remember his ID? His Hawaiian ID?
McLovin. Yeah, he's the same age as me right now then.
His Hawaiian ID, he was his birthday was June 3rd,
1981. It'd be 1981.
His birthday was June 3rd, 1981.
Oh, okay.
81. So McLovin, the 31 year is now 38 years old. McLovin, the Irish R&B singer.
No, but he did get the hot chick at the end of the movie. So
Superbad was a great movie, son.
That was the best with the cops, where he's like, "Yo, drag me out, make it look good."
Your street cred goes up. Nothing really to recap or talk about from last night, Benny. I put a parlay together. I know it died early, so I didn't even check the rest of it. I know it died early. What about you? You had anything going last night?
Again, we only had 4 games for MLB yesterday. The one bet I made is I hit all 3 of our main guys, MLB Dream, Frank, and Rob, all had the Dodgers yesterday as one of their best bets on the betting site. So I went in heavy following them in there. So pretty much made up for the debacle that was the Toronto Raptors the other day. So at least I'm kind of back to even for the week. I think I'm still down about 100 or something. So I'll take that, though. It's a lot better than what I thought I was going to be when you start the week with a big loss.
Yeah, no, that's good. What I did was everybody in the world had the Dodgers yesterday. So I said, I'm going to play the Diamondbacks.
I know, again, it was a close game. It's not that bad. They couldn't score.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Kevin Adams and I have actually he's been crushing the props over there. For anybody who has the, the sports betting site, the Elite Sports Betting, Kevin does props every day that we've been using for Monkey Knife Fight, which is a company that we have a, kind of an agreement with there. We send our people over there and we put up some content for them. Basically, the whole Monkey Knife Fight site, if you guys haven't been over there yet, it's all basically prop betting, right? Like, how many strikeouts is this guy going to have? Is he going to hit a home run? How many hits? Stuff like that. So he's been crushing these strikeout props. And I said to him, dude, you're hitting them over on Monkey Knife Fight. Why aren't you betting them? And he's like, because I'm back in California right now. I was like, all right, so remind me before the game start, and I'll go bet them all. So I've been betting all the props that Kevin's been throwing in, and we've been making money on a lot of these. So yesterday he was high on Robbie Ray, because Robbie Ray apparently had like a 38% strikeout rate against the current lineup for the Dodgers. So I also went in on the strikeout over. Me and him are basically splitting the money and then, splitting the bets. He's putting them in, and I'm making sure I get them all in for him. So we won some money on the Robbie Ray strikeout over yesterday. So even though he gave up a couple runs, he still got the 7 strikeouts to go over 6.5. That was nice.
Nice job right there. Yeah, yesterday was one of those days where when the first leg of the parlay don't hit, don't even trip off it, because the rest of it went down in flames also. So there you go right there with that one. But today we do got a full slate of baseball. No NBA. NBA returns tomorrow night. We do got a full slate of baseball on the docket. So we got that. And I think we might have a little women's basketball today too. Let me check on that one right now.
WNBA unders today?
Benny, we gonna keep riding them.
I gotta write that down and check that when we get off air here.
I'm looking at, well, first of all, they're saying that the game apparently I think there's a game 11 o'clock this morning.
All right. Well, hey, we can get some early bets in, make some money, parlay it into basketball. Parlay it into baseball later.
Do you know where the New York Liberty play at now?
It's not the Garden anymore?
They have that. They have not. They're not at Madison Square Garden no more. It's wild, right? You did not. You would not. I wouldn't have known that if I didn't. The hotel where FNTSY is at.
Right. That's why I just assumed they were right there. Yeah.
Well, last year I noticed that. I was like, how come the girls don't stay here no more when they come to play the Liberty? And homeboy in the hotel was like, because Liberty don't play at Madison Square Garden no more. And I was like, really?
Yeah.
Liberty play, and I know the place well because I've taken my son there to see wrestling. The Liberty play at the Westchester, I think it's called like the Westchester Armory or something like that.
Okay. I had zero clue that they weren't there anymore. That's
the NBA was like, we paying rent at Madison Square Garden, and nobody comes to these ball games.
Well, I mean, that makes sense. I'm sure they're paying an arm and a leg to Madison Square Garden to have them there.
The whole league is in the red, Benny.
Yeah, the WNBA.
The whole league's in the red.
I mean, I hate
gambling is going to help the WNBA, to be honest with you, though.
Well, it can't hurt it. I mean, again, you and I have never seriously, when was the last time you and I talked about a WNBA game before sports betting?
And if it wasn't for sports betting, Benny, I hate to say it, but we wouldn't. You know what I mean?
No, it's true.
Not that I have anything against women's sports. You know what I'm saying? It's just.
No, I mean, it's honestly, and I mean, whatever. All the feminists can, pick at the show if they want. Not that I think we got many that are watching in the first place.
They see us, Ben.
Yeah, I don't think that's fine by me anyway. But it's just more exciting watching the men's game. You know what I mean? It just is. Like if you and again, I don't think that that's a sexist statement at all. Go watch a women's basketball game. Go watch a men's basketball game. You tell me which one you were more entertained with.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So there you go, right there. Get ready to get started. We hop into the baseball in a minute. I want to spend a few minutes talking fantasy football as we get ready for the 2019 fantasy draft season. Don't forget Fantasy Guru's site, fantasyguru.com, for all your season-long fantasy needs. Talked about a little bit about Todd Gurley yesterday, Benny. Today, I want to ask you, what do you think about Conner, James Conner?
Why would you not love James Conner?
Because he broke down. He broke down last year.
And I can see that, and I understand that. But here's my whole thing, right? I mean, I know he's a little bit older running back right now. Even him and Le'Veon Bell are probably about the same age, to be honest with you.
Yep.
But there's a big difference between the two of them. Le'Veon Bell is 26 with, however many 2,000 touches under his belt. Conner really hadn't played a full season until last year.
Yep.
He had played, but he hadn't been, the guy getting double-digit carries and touches every game. Him breaking down, I don't really mind too much, because here's the other thing you got to think about with the Steelers, right? The Steelers always run their running backs into the ground. Like, isn't that why Le'Veon Bell wanted to sit out last year? Like, the Steelers' offense is a high-volume offense for one running back.
Mm-hmm.
So the games that you're going to get out of Conner, is there a chance he can get hurt? Sure. But the production you're going to get out of him before he gets hurt, if he even gets hurt to begin with, is going to be 20-plus touches literally on a game-by-game basis.
Yeah. With
touchdown equity, with receiving ability if you're playing in PPR. Like, the guy literally is the kind of guy you want. You want the Pittsburgh Steelers running back, whoever it is.
Because that's the Pittsburgh Steelers running back generally is an RB1. When D'Angelo Williams was the Steelers running back, when Le'Veon Bell was going through his stuff, he was always an RB1. I worry about Jalen Samuels and John Conner kind of splitting up that work this year. But I think for the most part, the Steelers are going to continue to go with a single back. But Jalen Samuel has been talked up a lot. But I think we got the rest of the summer to see how that one plays up. Would you rather have Conner or Joe Mixon?
Conner, because of the offense he plays in.
I agree 100%.
Yeah, it's just a higher.
Mixon may be the more talented back, but Conner's in a better spot for what we do.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, if you're talking about I'm starting a franchise, which one of the two I want, I probably would take Mixon. But if you're asking me who do I want on my fantasy team, I'm always going to go towards the team that scores more points. It's just a higher octane offense in Pittsburgh. And, you know that Connor's going to get the touchdowns when they're close to the end zone. He's going to catch passes. He's going to do all this. I just trust him more. I always trust. I will take a less talented running back in a higher octane offense every single time, because at the end of the year, they wind up being more productive. They always do.
I agree with you. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, the talent thing is one thing, but definitely when you look at the two offenses, you know what I'm saying? I think this is probably the last year we get an Andy Dalton. I think the Bengals are in the spot where they are probably going to be tanking to see if they can get their hands on Tua or Herbert or one of those guys.
I was going to say, is that a bad thing that this is the last year of an Andy Dalton? I mean, for fantasy at least, I would think there's quite a few weapons
they
there.
They drafted a quarterback this year, as a matter of fact.
Who'd they take?
I forgot who they took. They took a quarterback this year. Dalton's on thin ice. He is. Because he's not – well, let me not say it's not his fault, because it is his fault because he's the quarterback. But a lot of it has to do with Marvin Lewis, whatever. They don't even go to the playoffs no more. You know what I'm saying? They at least they would always be like that 6th seed in the AFC or somewhere. They would get. Remember they had a couple of that battle against Pittsburgh a couple of years ago. A game they should have won, but it's just like.
Well, the whole time Marvin Lewis was there, they were an 8-8 to 10-6 team.
Yep.
Like every year that was kind of how they finished. They were 8-8 to 10-6. You know, they never won the division because the Steelers were always there, but they were always, you know, right behind them.
Yeah, which is it's kind of tough not to. David Johnson, Benny, bounce back season?
I think so. I mean, listen, I've seen people draft him as high as 2 or 3.
Wow.
You know, I've seen him going like right at the beginning of the first round of some of these drafts. You know, it's going to be a higher octane offense this year if they use him. I mean, really though, like Corey, if we think about this, David Johnson had one good season, right?
It really
like
did.
It was a very, very good season, but it was really one good season. And then since then, he's been hurt. He's underperformed. Like, I mean, I like him, and I'd probably take him. I don't know if I'd go 1-3. Like, I'm not taking him over Zeke. I'm not taking him over McCaffrey.
Yeah. I would take him over Melvin Gordon. I would draft Melvin Gordon over him.
I wouldn't argue with you. Here's a good question for you right now because of some of the uncertainty with, you know, the head coach over here for my beloved New York Jets. Do you take him before or after Le'Veon Bell?
I would take Le'Veon. That's a tough one right there, Benny.
I
would take Le'Veon Bell. Listen, my thing is, see, is Gase going to now be like, okay, I ran the general manager. Now I'm going to play you how I want to play you. Adam Gase don't like star players. He does not. We've seen
he doesn't like running backs. He doesn't like good running backs.
Adam Gase may not like people.
Why do the Jets have to do this to me, man? I'm a nice guy. Like, come on.
I agree, Benny. The Jets, the optimism was there, and you had a chance to really hit a home run. The Mike McCarthy, in my opinion, should have been the hire, but the Packers trashed him on the way out the door.
They did.
They trashed him on the way out the door. You know what I'm saying?
They made sure he wasn't getting another head coaching job right away. He's going to have to go be a coordinator first and make his way back there.
So the thing with Gase is, you know, you got the Peyton Manning thing, whatever, which is bullshit in my opinion. But now you bring him in there. He starts picking fights. If you pick a fight with Bell, Bell's not going to back down and be a 10, 12 carry guy. Bell's going to be like, I was brought here. Le'Veon may not be a Jet next year.
I'm going to be honest with you. This is my biggest fear right now is I feel like there's a powder keg in that locker room. Like with all the stuff going on, and Gase is right in the middle of it. And here's the thing, Corey. When you want to be the king and you want all the power, because let's face it, he's the head coach, he's the GM, which teams don't really do anymore nowadays. Like that used to be a thing in the 80s and the 90s.
Can't handle it.
You know, now it's always been a split position with the way that things go in the NFL right now. So you wanted all the power, you got it. So you're going to have to take all the blame. You get all the credit if things work, but you're also going to take all the blame if things fall apart because you're in charge of everything right now.
Benny, what is his track record that allow? He's acting like he's Bill Belichick. He hasn't won shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, we've talked about this before. His track record is I coached Peyton Manning. It's like, all right, well, you know, I coached LeBron James. I mean, hey, I coached LeBron James, and, you know, he almost got the Lakers job. Yeah. But that's why the Lakers didn't hire him. But this is what I'm saying is he now has all the power, right? So this is Gase's chance to prove that he is what he thinks he is and not what he's shown us that he is so far. If this all works out, he's the genius because he's in charge of everything. If this all falls apart, though, it's all got to fall on his head because you're the one who pushed your way into this situation. So, like I said, this thing could. I have a feeling, Corey, that the Jets could go, 11-5 this year, or they could go like 2-14 if the locker room just goes nuts.
That's it's a wide range right there. So I'm hoping the New York Jets do get it done, though, because you want to see the franchise come back. I think the young quarterback is good. I like the Le'Veon Bell addition and some of the other pieces. So I just think the head coaching thing was a mistake. Did you see where Juju Smith-Schuster went to?
Kid's prom date.
Yeah, that was dope, yo.
That's pretty cool. So for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, there's a kid. Him and his girlfriend broke up like right before prom, so he didn't have a date. So Juju Smith-Schuster went with him. So he just went and hung out with Juju at his prom all night. They had like crushed velvet suits on too, like matching suits. That was pretty cool. So big shout out to Juju. That was a pretty cool thing to do.
He's a good guy. You know what I'm saying? And I'm glad he didn't get caught up in too much what Antonio Brown was trying to do to him. You know what I'm saying? And Antonio Brown's my man too, but Antonio Brown's was a little bit out there going after Smith-Schuster. Smith-Schuster, he's a young ball player. Benny, what do you think? Are you a Jimmy Garoppolo guy?
I do like him, but I mean, to me the jury's out. Here's the thing. I will gladly take Jimmy Garoppolo like round 14 or 15 in these drafts if he's falling down there. I have no problem taking him there. Like I told you, I wait on quarterbacks anyway. That's the kind of quarterback that could win you a fantasy championship this year. Drafting him in the 14th, 15th round after getting all your wide receivers and running backs taken care of. That's why I like a guy like Garoppolo.
Yeah, and he should be there. Guys like Phil Rivers, stuff like that. Kirk Cousins had a major fall off in some of his early draft results. Jordan Howard,
yeah,
is in Philadelphia now. Obviously, committee approach right there. What do you think about him?
I mean, I like Jordan Howard's talent. I don't like the situation. Yeah. So for me, he's maybe an 8th, 9th, 10th round, backup running back kind of guy that you go after. I wouldn't be unless you hear something or guys start getting hurt where you think that he could have a bigger role. It's just not the way they use a single running back in Philly. So I'm not really looking to get involved in it.
I'm not really looking to get involved either. And that's those situations right there cause more of a headache than anything else. What do you think about your man Jamison Crowder now as a member of the New York Jets?
I really don't know because the problem that I have with the Jets is the Jets did the same thing the Giants did. You went and you got a whole bunch of guys that play the slot. Quincy Anua's best position is out of the slot. Jamison Crowder's best position is out of the slot. So how are you going to wind up using these guys? Robbie Anderson's going to be on the outside. He's going to be your stretch to field receiver. Is Quincy going to play on the outside and the other side and Crowder going to play in the middle? I mean, you got to look at it this way. A young quarterback usually looks for security blankets a lot, especially when the blitz is coming. And that's guys like your slot receiver and your tight end. So, I mean, you should think that there should be some catches there for whoever's in there. I wouldn't. But let's put it this way, Corey. I don't think the Jets are going to be a high-powered passing offense this year. They'll pass a little bit, but they're not going to be the team that's throwing the ball 45, 50 times a game unless they're down. So I'm not really looking for 100 catches out of Jamison Crowder. I think his numbers will be better than some of the bad seasons in Washington, but I don't think he's going to match some of his best seasons as a Redskin.
Interesting to see how that one plays out. Always been a favorite of mine. Just need to get healthy and in a good situation. Hopefully that can be with the New York Jets. I'm willing to take a flyer. You'll be able to get him in double-digit rounds. You know what I'm saying? Put him on your bench, see what happens. If not, you can let him go. Get ready to hop in and talk some baseball. But, Benny, let me ask you one final fantasy football-related question. Who is the Viking wide receiver to own?
I always like to go with Thielen.
Yeah.
To me, it's always Thielen. And again, that's no knock on Diggs, because I love Diggs too. But, I just like Thielen is a guy, especially in a PPR kind of setting, where he could get you 7 to 10 catches in a game, 100 yards, and find the end zone once or twice. Even on his bad games, he's still getting the volume. Stephon Diggs may have the bigger upside, right? Because he can catch 280-yard bombs and have a 6 or 7 catch, 160-yard, 2-touchdown kind of game. But I almost said Humphreys. Thielen, this is wide receivers. You get confused.
Yeah, same thing.
Thielen is just much more consistent because you just know he's going to get those 7 to 10 targets being out of the slot there.
For me, it's kind of a toss-up.
Mm-hmm.
I think Thielen can get his stuff without Diggs. I mean, Diggs can. That's the other way around.
Diggs
can put up numbers without Thielen. I don't know if Thielen can put up numbers without Diggs. You know what I'm saying? But in the system that they have, the way it's playing out, it works. Both of them are very good wide receivers. Adam Thielen is a great football player. I just think, man, on the draft board it's tough because Benny, they're always right there together. You know what I mean? Yep. Like you're looking for a wide receiver 2, and you're in the second, third round, and you're looking at Thielen and Diggs. It's like, shit, which one do I take? I would give Thielen a slight edge. I think Diggs is the better player. I would give Thielen a slight edge because of his durability.
Yeah, and that's the other thing I was going to say too is you always got to worry about Diggs being injured. But here's the thing. I mean, one thing that I've loved about them for fantasy is that I really love, like, if you play daily fantasy, right? I love the idea of the Cousins stack with both of them because there really isn't anybody else on that team that sees targets. Like, they don't have a high target tight end. The other wide receiver who plays on the outside, whoever it is that they've been cycling through, those guys never see a bunch of targets. The targets really do concentrate on those two guys with Diggs and Thielen. So even though Thielen is the guy who I'm more comfortable with, you can support two good wide receivers, especially if they're getting all the volume of the targets there. So I really don't mind either one of those guys, but if they're both on the board and it's my pick and I have to take one, I'm going Thielen over Diggs.
There you go right there. Let's hop into it. Get ready for some baseball. The White Sox and the Nationals, Lopez and Strasburg. Nationals a big favorite in this one, but the total is 8.5.
Yeah, I can't take the minus 280 on this one, but a couple things
would lose.
Yeah, I mean, and again, a minus 280 is not a number I'm ever going to take, but a couple things to look at here, Corey. Strasburg is going against a team that has the 4th highest strikeout rate against right-handed pitching. I don't know what his strikeout prop is going to be. They didn't have it up on DraftKings when I was looking this morning. But looking at Strasburg's strikeouts, if he can get him like even 7.5, I don't think is a crazy number if you're getting, low juice on it. If it's over 6.5, I definitely take it, even if you got to pay up to like 150 or minus 150, minus 160.
Ooh, 8.5.
Yeah, that's a big number. What are they paying? What's the juice on it?
112.
Minus?
Mm-hmm.
Or plus? No way.
Minus 112.
Yeah, I can't take that. So forget about that. If you can find it smaller somewhere else, maybe.
That's on FanDuel right there.
Yeah, so the other thing I like in this game, Ronaldo Lopez pitching for the White Sox is a guy that gives up a lot of home runs, especially the lefties. Juan Soto has absolutely crushed right-handed pitching since he's been in the league. Anthony Rendon does too. So if you want to look for some upside, you can look for a Rendon or Juan Soto home run prop. And I do think they win this game. So you could do the home run prop with the win. You could probably get a pretty decent plus 400 and better on it.
Let me see if I can find something like that for you right now. They don't be having the right players in these things. Juan Soto was plus 460. Rendon is plus 480 for a home run and a win of the Washington Nationals. Not a bad bet right there.
Yeah, I'll take 4 or 5 to 1 on those guys. Put $20 on it, you get 100 out. That's not bad.
That's the same thing I was thinking right there. You have the Atlanta Braves tonight and the Pittsburgh Pirates. I despise the Pittsburgh Pirates. You got Fried and you got I don't even know this Pittsburgh pitcher.
Steven Brault.
Huh?
Steven Brault, right?
Yeah, Steven Brault. 9 is the total. The Braves minus 174 on the road.
Yeah, they're minus 165 on the DraftKings playbook right now. They're actually my favorite bet of the night. I absolutely love this bet for them. Max Fried is a very good pitcher, slightly weaker to right-handed bats, but there really aren't a ton of righties on Pittsburgh that scare me. I mean, the biggest one is probably the kid Brian Reynolds, the young kid that they called up.
Yeah.
Very small sample size, but he's actually been crushing left-handed pitching. So he's the one guy I'm worried about, but I like the Braves minus 165 to win this game. The Braves have 6 guys on their team with a 130 WRC plus or better, and Brault absolutely sucks against right-handed bats. 5 of those 6 guys are righties. Acuna, Donaldson, Albies, Camargo, Flowers. So I expect the Braves to win this game. I actually expect them to win this game big. So minus 165, minus 174, anything under minus 180 to me is kind of a gift.
All right, there you go right there. Atlanta Braves in the building tonight. Yankees up north in Toronto. Tanaka and Clayton Richard. 9.5 is where it opened at. 9 is the number right now. Obviously, you're paying the 85 cents on the Yankees at minus 185. And the Toronto Blue Jays are, whatever. The total is 9.
Yeah, I mean, I expect Tanaka to win this game. He very well may give up a home run, though. Toronto, a good home run park. Tanaka, a guy who gives them up. I wouldn't do the home run and the win here because I don't think the Blue Jays are going to win. But if you want to look for a home run prop on one of these Blue Jays guys, maybe like a smoke, he'd probably be the one that I'd be looking at there. I like the Yankees to win. Minus 186 is not a great number, though. So this is one of those ones that I'd be looking for like a second game to parlay. Put two of them together, get a plus money thing on them, and kind of go for there.
I agree with you.
Here you go. Braves.
Braves parlay sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, 165, 185. That should be like plus 150. So you get 1.5 times your money on Braves Yankees parlays. That's not a bad idea.
Braves Yankees come in at 143.
Okay, so like I said, about 1.5 on your money.
Plus money, yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're looking for, Benny. Yankees should win that game. Tampa Bay and Detroit. Oh God, I feel bad for people who have to watch this, but if you have to watch this, you must be working at the ballpark, which nobody goes to anyway. You know what I'm saying? Tampa and Detroit, Benny. The total is 8.5. Is there anything to see here?
Yeah, there actually is. I mean, the Blake Snell K prop is probably pretty high, but the Tigers have the 5th most strikeouts against left-handed pitching. It's like a 27% strikeout rate, just under like 26,
wow,
26.8 or something like that. So, if his K prop is like 6.5 or 7.5, I'd be interested. The guy on the other side, though, the kid Carpenter that's pitching for Detroit, he only throws about 80 pitches, so he's only going to go about 4 or 5 innings. But Tampa Bay actually has not looked good against left-handed pitching. If you can get a K, they actually have the highest strikeout rate in the league against left-handed pitching. So if you can get this kid Carpenter with like a 2.5 or 3.5 on his K prop, that might be something I'd willing to go with the over on as well.
He's not even listed right now, but Blake Snell is sitting at 7.5.
What is the juice on it?
The juice on 144.
Minus 144?
Mm-hmm.
That's I mean, I like that. I like that prop, but minus 144 is not a great number. So
44 cents on a pitcher prop is a way to deplete your bankroll, in my opinion. The Mets and the San Francisco Giants. Benny, Citi Field is the venue tonight. Should be a nice night in the city. We should avoid the rain. San Francisco Giants come to town. Should be a nice low-scoring game.
I mean, it's Syndergaard and Madison Bumgarner. Neither one of them are like at their peak, but they're both still very good pitchers. I actually wanted to take the under in this game, but the under was down at like 7, right, Corey? It might even be lower. Yeah, it's a low number. Like, I didn't really want to mess with it. It probably goes under. This is probably a pitcher's duel. Probably ends up like 3-1 or 4-2 at best, but I really don't have a lead here either way, so I don't have any bets on this one.
Yeah, nothing to see here. You know what I'm saying? This is a game that you watch if you're a Mets fan, and you have to struggle through that. Minnesota and Cleveland, Smelter and Bieber. 136 is the juice on Cleveland. Cleveland messed me up real bad over the weekend. And the Minnesota Twins, 9 is the total on this one. I can't – like Cleveland, I had a loss with Cleveland that was so bad, Benny, that I'm like, I'm not ever betting the Indians again.
Well, I mean –
the Indians were minus 200 and lost. And they lost like 11-2.
Was that the Carrasco game? I think I was on them too.
Carrasco game, you are correct.
Yeah, I was on that too. That was again, it was the right bet. It did not work out very well based on the numbers. So it is what it is. There's 2 good young pitchers in this game, right? You got Bieber on one side, you got the kid Smeltzer on the other side. He had a very good debut. He's making a second start. I think this game is one that could wind up staying under, but really I'm just kind of staying away from it. The one thing I will say is, if these guys have high strikeout props, like if it's 6.5 or over for either one of them, I'd be looking at the under because both of these teams are really low in the strikeout rate against the handedness of pitcher they're facing.
Okay, that's cool. I'm trying to find it right now. See if I can find it for you. Who was it? The Indians and the Twins?
Yeah, so you got Bieber and Smeltzer's the other kid's name. The kid Smeltzer is pretty good. I mean, again, it was only the first start I saw, but I watched a little bit of that start. Big left-handed kid. He's a pretty good pitcher.
They have a prop for Bieber, strikeouts over 6.5. It comes in at minus 152.
What is the under?
6.5.
The under is 6. What I'm saying, like, what's the juice on the under?
Oh, hold on 1 second, Benny. The juice on the under is, hold on.
Plus money?
No,
Minus 152 is plus money, no?
it's not plus money.
Nah. Is it close?
Hold on 1 second. Oh, no, it is plus money. I'm sorry. It's plus 120. The under is plus 120.
Take the under on Bieber at plus 120.
I like that. All right.
I'm actually writing it down because that's a really good number. Under on Bieber at plus 120. Under 6.5, right?
Yep, under 6.5 on the FanDuel site for your boy Biebs.
I like that. Minnesota does not strike out much, so I like that.
Miami and Milwaukee got the Marlins going down to the Brew Crew, Lopez and Anderson. Milwaukee's a big favorite, minus 196. The total is 9.
They were minus 175 last night, or on DraftKings at least. Maybe they're a better price on DraftKings than FanDuel. So I actually like them a lot at minus 175. Minus 190 is more likely where it should be. So DraftKings right now is offering value. If you can get them at minus 175, I think that's a good bet.
I'm looking at minus 200 right now on FanDuel.
Yeah, that's a big number. Like I said, I liked it at minus. They're a lot like the Yankees before. What I was saying, if you can get them at minus 180 or better, those are ones that I'd be like, okay, I'd be willing to bet on. Over that, at best, you can put it in a parlay. But I do like the Brewers to win. I also like the Brewers over 5.5 runs in this one, Corey.
Brewers over 5.5. Okay, I like that. I will make a note of that one right there. Baltimore and Texas. Anything to see here?
Yeah, it's 2 garbage bullpens. That's what we're going to see here. So if you want to bet the over, you can bet the over. Really, though, I'm just kind of staying.
It's 10.5, Benny.
I know. That's why I'm staying away from it. I was just about to say, if you want to bet it, you can. It is going to be a lot, but 10.5 is asking a lot here. You know what I will say? You got 2 guys that could give up some home runs and 2 bullpens that can give up some home runs. So if you want to look at some home run props, maybe like a Renato Lopez for Baltimore. Joey Gallo's hurt. He would have been the guy I'd take for the Rangers. Maybe, I don't know, Nomar Mazara or something. You know,
yeah, it's a hard pass for this one on me. What about Colorado and the Cubs? The Cubs come in a big favorite. Cubs coming in a big favorite. It numbers at 10 right now.
Yeah, I mean, my big thing here, like, I like Hendricks as a pitcher. He's not a very good fantasy pitcher because he's not a big strikeout guy, but he's a guy that gets a lot of ground balls, limits the other team, and doesn't give up a lot of runs and a lot of hits and a lot of base runners. Jeff Hoffman, on the other hand, for Colorado, absolutely sucks. I mean, he's gone 3 starts so far since coming back, gave up 3, 4, and 5 runs in those starts, only goes about 5 innings. So his ERA right now is like 7 or something. I expect Chicago to win, but I didn't like the number. What are they now? Like minus 280, minus 250?
200. I'm looking at, well, let me check. They are 215. Wow.
Yeah, like that was the big problem is I didn't think there was any value on the money line.
Boston and Kansas City. Sparkman and Rodriguez. Boston's minus 180. The total is 10. I would personally stay away from this. This looks like a trap to me.
I don't know. I kind of like Boston in this one.
Really?
Yeah, I think Boston's one of those teams at minus 180. Because listen, Erod's not a bad pitcher.
Of course,
like, he's not a bad pitcher. The kid Sparkman, he is kind of a bad pitcher, and he's like one of those. He's one of those guys that pitches like 2 or 3 innings. So this is going to wind up being a bullpen game where they're just going to throw, whoever can give them a couple of innings here. So I don't love it. It's not like I'm going all in on the Red Sox, but I do like the Red Sox to win this game. So minus 180. Put it this way. To me, they're behind the Brewers. They're behind the Yankees. They're behind the Braves if I was going to do it. And I'm going to – at minus 180, it's one of those teams that you would want to parlay. I'd much rather go Braves-Yankees or Braves-Brewers, any combination of those 3 teams before the Red Sox.
I would agree with you on that one. Cincinnati and St. Louis out there in St. Louis. Castillo and Cabrera. 9 is the total on this one. The juice is on the Reds at minus 122.
Yeah, I just don't trust the Reds on the road to beat the Cardinals enough, although I like Luis Castillo, so I wouldn't bet it. The only thing I'm looking to bet here, the kid Genesis Cabrera is a young guy. I think it was his first start last time. Didn't look all that great. He is a lefty, so the one guy who crushes lefties on his team is Eugenio Suarez. So I like Suarez for the home run prop. That's somebody that I'd be looking at. I wouldn't take the home run in the win because, honestly, I think this game is – with the 2 pitchers on the mound, I think this game is a coin flip, and I really don't want to be on either side of it. But I like the Suarez home run prop.
Oakland the Dodgers and the Arizona Diamondbacks go at it again tonight. Ryu and Clark, 9.5 is the number. But I'm looking at minus 215 on the Dodgers. I feel like that's probably going up.
They were minus 230 on DraftKings this morning, which is the reason I wouldn't bet it. Listen, I like Ryu a lot. The guy has looked awesome this year. I mean, his whip is like 0.8, so he's not giving up base runners. He's got a little less than a strikeout per inning. I think 69 Ks in 73 innings. He's been dominant. I just can't take. Again, it was 230 on DraftKings. I couldn't take a minus 230, so
I don't blame you.
I stayed away from it.
I don't blame you. And the Dodgers I think the Dodgers is on something like. The Dodgers may have 7 straight wins or something like that right now. You know what I'm saying? That number's going to keep getting high. Oakland and the Angels. Angels come in at minus 112. So a little bit of money on Oakland. 8.5 is total on this one. Montez and Canning.
Yeah, so you got 2 good young pitchers here, right? Like Frankie Montas has really been pitching well this year in a bunch of his starts. The kid Griffin Canning, this is only like I think his 2nd or 3rd start in the majors, but he's looked good so far. So I really don't have a lean in this game either way. I know when I looked at it, the money line was pretty close on both teams, meaning that I don't think Vegas really has a lean either way either. The best thing you could do is probably the under, but really I'm staying away from this one.
First 5 numbers not even out yet either, so you're right. Vegas is struggling. We're trying to handicap this game right here. Hopefully they continue to struggle with the WNBA too. Houston and Seattle. I don't even have pitchers listed for this game. Do you?
Let's see. Houston, Seattle. The guy pitching for Seattle is Jonathan Neese. Now, you're from the New York area. Do you remember?
The John Neese experience.
All right. So he's actually been decent in the minor leagues, but again, he's Jonathan Neese. So, like, you know, if he was that good, he'd still be in the majors and he wouldn't have been in the minor leagues trying to get another shot. So he's pitching because I think their staff's a little banged up here. Again, Houston's offense is banged up, though, with no Altuve, no Correa, no Springer.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's probably a Houston game, but I'm just staying away from it.
I agree with you on that one. And finally, the Padres and the Phillies, Eichhoff and Paddock. Phillies are the underdog. Phillies up plus 132.
Yeah. The kid Paddock is good. Paddock can pitch. Paddock is very good. He's a good, very good young pitcher. I think he used to be on the Marlins because I think he's one of those guys that everybody's like, wow, could you imagine if Derek Jeter didn't trade, Yelich, Real Muto, like you go down the list, Ozuna, Stanton, like the Marlins team from 3 years ago would be like a super squad right now if they didn't get rid of all those guys. Eichhoff, on the other hand, is a so-so pitcher, like, probably league average, maybe even a little below. But the matchups are so much different for them, right? Like the Phillies are a good hitting team against left-handed pitching, so it's a tough matchup for Paddock. The Padres are one of the worst hitting teams, one of the higher strikeout teams, second in strikeouts there against right-handed pitching. So I don't really have a lean here because the better pitcher has the tougher matchup. The crappier pitcher has the easier matchup. I don't really know which way to go here, so I'm just kind of staying away from it.
Yeah, I think it's one to stay away from too. There you go right there. That's a full breakdown of today's Major League Baseball slate. You want to get down with some DFS, GuruElite.com. Elite Fantasy, excuse me. I keep getting the name mixed up. What we got, Benny? Big piece of chicken?
So my big piece of chicken today is going to Kelly Leak. That's why I got the jersey on. The guy hit 900 with 22 home runs and 0 fucks given in the 1973 season.
Love it. I'm going to give mine to Kayvon Looney. He did a good job coming in as a fill-in these past couple of weeks for the Golden State Warriors. Find out yesterday he's likely out for the remainder of the series. His season comes to an end. I think he's a skilled, talented player that could end up someplace else and get some good minutes. So shout out to Kayvon Looney. He definitely was the definition of strength in numbers as he turned up when they needed him the most, Benny. So there you go right there, my man.
Yeah, it's a tough break for the kid. I liked him, and he played good for them in the playoffs. So hopefully they can get a ring for him.
There you go right there for my man Benny. I'm Corey Parson, the Fantasy Executive. We are out.